Going over to the Cultural Department podcast, you have Matt Walsh telling Illinois Omar to go back home when she says USA is the worst. This brought to us thanks to Matt Walsh's blog, or rather his hashtag Matt Walsh blog over on X, in which he was responding to Ed Wokeness when Representative Illan Omar says, "We are turning into one of the worst countries on the earth," which, reminder, she came from Somalia, which, yeah, the fact she's insulting America at all is viscerally, mentally vacuous and disgusting and stupid. Let's listen to her. She's, well, insufferable, but some people might argue better listen to her than me, but without too much further ado.
To be coming out of our country. I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets
because again, California, Los Angeles has allowed their cities to burn and be taken over. It's basically, I guess you could argue Somalia 2.0. Well, that's more like Minneapolis, but yeah, the courts of course already settled. Trump has the authority to do this because, well, also the states aren't doing it. They're allowing it and incentivizing these things to happen. They keep happening in deep blue cities.
Without any regard for people's constitutional rights.
Coming from the one who wants to ban free speech as well as firearms. I should clarify, they love guns for the government, not for you and I.
Our president spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade.
There's a 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. That was a little while, last week, but yeah.
It is really shocking, and it should be a
She stutters worse than me, which is saying something.
Wake-up call for all Americans to say this is not the country we were born in. This is not the country we believe in. This is not the country our founding fathers imagined.
The leftists always, they'll reference the founding fathers, and most ironic, so ironically, it's like, you're the side that wants to ban guns, ban free speech. I mean, they don't want to destroy the Constitution.
And this is not the country that is supported by our Constitution, our ideals, our values. And we should all collectively be out in the streets rejecting what is taking place.
I think we can agree she does belong in the streets, as they say. And Matt Walsh responded, "Go back to Somalia," gained 2.9 million views, as well as 97,000 likes. Or Trump would probably say, "Matt Walsh got the most views of all time, the greatest of all comments. She needs to be deported back to Somalia. She always complains, has nothing to contribute. Terrible, ugly woman. Only second to only the dog, Rosie O'Donnell." Well, Trump didn't say that precisely, but I would guess perhaps he said something like that. Now, going to the comment section, one of the first ones comes to us thanks to Brianna Moriallo saying, quote, "Yes," gained 57 likes. Our favorite contrarian, the gas stove, simply says, "Go back to Ireland," getting 36 likes. Was he ratioed, though? We go to the comment section. No. Someone says, by the name of I'm a horse thief, kind of admitting a crime there. But nevertheless, this alleged horse thief says, quote, "He was born in the U.S. and is pro-U.S. Your brain appears to be faulty." Got no likes. I'll give him one like. We also have Crypto Max saying he doesn't say America is one of the worst countries on earth. They one like. Witherbow, interesting name. Mayor says, quote, "Why he's not complaining." So the gas stove was not ratioed this time. A rare instance. Mr. Pitbull, who I don't think that's a singer unless he has a disproportionate amount of time in his hands to tweet these days. We'll say the alleged Pitbull says, "Send Illan Omar back to Somalia." He has some pictures of her. It says, from jail cell to Congress. It says, well, these are question marks on it. It says, arrested 23 times. Daughter of Somalian terrorist, committed marriage and immigration fraud. ISIS and Al-Qaeda sympathizer. Making a mockery of the U.S. government. Getting 245 likes. Quite a few to say the least. Which, yeah, she has a very interesting relationship with her brother. Sam White says, it should be illegal for people who aren't born in the U.S. to run for any political office. Doesn't matter if it's a mayor, Congress, Senate, City Council, no foreigners. Getting 557 likes. Which, now the downside of that philosophy, which I understand the argument, and I love debating that with my peers and friends. I mean, the issue is, there are a lot of Chinese people who will come here, have the kid here, and immediately fly back to China and be indoctrinated with their philosophies about communism. And technically, by the rules of right now, that person can come back and then run for president. So, I mean, just because you're born here doesn't mean you're automatically pro-America. Again, I really think that we should be more civics tests as well. Make sure you actually know the foundation of our country and make sure you're actually educated. But, and again, there's no guarantee just because you're born here. Now, that being said, I think it should be a variable component of, people who run for office. Now, it is for the presidency. Famously, people talk about that. But in terms of local, there's not too many discussions around that. And again, if you assimilate to the United States and, you espouse and you believe in the values of our founding fathers, I believe you should have the opportunity to run, especially on a local level. That's where a lot of good, impactful things can happen. So again, let me know in the comments. That's a very controversial statement from Sam White. He did get 567 likes. I wonder if he was ratioed. He got 70 responses. Going down more and more. He wasn't ratioed. All these responses are getting between 10 and 20 likes themselves. Now going back to the main comment section, Freedom Cat, which is A+ for marketing, is in fact a picture of a cat with a American flag behind him and wearing a USA bandana. That's cute as hell. He's only got 572 followers. We gotta fix that. I followed him. Now, the Freedom Cat says, Representative Tom Massey, can you please draft some legislation that makes people with dual citizenship ineligible to run for political office? In 269, let's make it 270 likes, because that is a good point. If you have dual citizenship, a lot of people may argue, where's your allegiance really? So that would be an interesting variable or interesting component in terms of U.S. office. That would be that would be interesting. I think it's certainly worth debating. Daddy Deplorable says, quote, why is it that when a non-native born American is critical of our government, we get to tell them to go back to Somalia? A contrarian statement getting 135 likes and 48 responses. First response, did not ratio him. Got about halfway there. A comment from But It's a Dry Heat says, quote, because no one from Somalia should ever be allowed in the U.S. to begin with. That's why I gained 63 likes. Jeez Louise, I'm starting worse than illan Omar. And I do have a joke about that. When I first started the show, barely anyone tuned in. Well, maybe family. And I started worse than, I think I probably stumbled over my words worse than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs and spoke faster than Ben Shapiro. But as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I become more articulate with my speaking. Some people might make fun of me and say, it's barely any improvement. Though I would argue, statistically speaking, technically an improvement nevertheless. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. And I literally printed out a sign that says, enunciate and slow down. It's behind the camera, believe it or not. Now, going back to the main comments, our Daddy Deplorable responded saying, quote, I am fully on board with the idea of having restrictive immigration, but telling a lawful naturalized U.S. citizen who serves in Congress to go back to Somalia is like talking to a wall on the way back from the bar. It's the dumbest, this is a real word, this dumbassery, I guess is a real word, doesn't add to the conversation, getting 27 likes. Going back to the main comment section. Wow, this one got 800 likes. This from Jared Edwards said, quote, I wonder what insecurities contributed to Matt Walsh blog racism, getting 803 likes. Well, again, Matt Walsh would not be saying this if she wasn't from Somalia and always complaining about the United States and calling the United States one of the worst countries on the planet. Again, you're from Somalia, which again, as Trump would say, Somalia, most people can't even point to it on a map. They certainly don't make iPhones. The cool V8 engines there. It's so lame. Not cool at all. No bald eagles. No good old AR-15s. No stick shift vehicles. They don't even have McDonald's, for Christ's sake. I'm obviously kidding. Or am I? Did Trump really say that behind closed doors? Obviously didn't. But yeah, I think it's because she came from that country and always espouses, the values of this country and says how great it is. I think that's probably the main reason why Matt's saying that. He's not saying that randomly. It's because she specifically is attacking the United States and saying how terrible it is. But again, the U.S. is pretty gosh darn awesome. And I do love a quote from about 10 plus years ago from Ted Nugent. He once said, the whole world sucks, but the U.S. sucks the least. Because again, obviously there's problems with the U.S., but saying we're one of the worst on the planet, that's the dumbest thing anyone has ever said in a while. I mean, the bar is pretty low. So it's one of those things where, it's probably one of the most popular things Matt Walsh has said all month. And interesting, he got a couple contrarian statements, but overall, pretty much all in agreement with him. And let me know in the comments. I mean, again, she's winning election after election, partially because they import a lot of people from Somalia into Minnesota. But let me know your thoughts and comments, because it's always be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.